Chapter 1. It is time to socialize. How do you feel? Have you recently taken a trip around the internet searching for discussion groups and comments from introverts? Have you noticed how many of them claim they are very happy being introverts? Not only that, but they go on and on, affirming and reaffirming how happy they are with their own introversion. Shakespeare, in Act 3, Scene 2 of Hamlet, said, "The lady doth protest too much, methinks." That rush of rhetoric inferred her insincerity. In other words, she was not terribly convincing. Introverts are okay people, and many introverts are comfortable in that lifestyle. Artists, writers, music composers, theoretical mathematicians, and many others recognize that introversion is necessary for the work. Even those folks make appearances. The artist shows his or her work. The mathematician meets with his peers to present his findings. Gasp! Public speaking. Introversion is not a 24/7-hour state of being. In truth, many introverts feel anxious in social occasions. Social anxiety is really quite common. You are not in a class alone. It is okay to feel this anxiety, but it may become debilitating. Humans are not meant to be islands. You and I all need others. That is a vital part of our being, as well as a means to feel self-esteem and feel the esteem of others. Those pesky stomach butterflies. Look at a typical situation tailored to erupt your feelings of social anxiety. An acquaintance invites you to a party. Do you tend to feel like a school child when the teacher asks you to stand up and answer a question? Your stomach suddenly fills with nervous butterflies. Do you consult your book of excuses and struggle to remember what excuse you used the last time? The other people you sorely need to fulfill yourself do not lie within you. They are out there. You feel anxious and apprehensive about the invitation to the social occasion, but cannot continue to hide. So, reluctantly, you decide to attend. It takes you halfway to forever to dress and primp yourself. Nothing looks right on you, nothing fits. You feel you're too fat or out of style. There are blemishes on your face. You're afraid of looking and acting like the odd duck. Will this be the last party you will have the opportunity to attend? Nevertheless, you don a courageous face and venture out. When you arrive, the hostess greets you and puts your coat into the hall closet. Do you secretly want to climb into the closet with it? She escorts you into the living room and introduces you to the guests, all of them at once. That exercise seems silly, doesn't it? You'll never recall everyone's name, and no one wears a name tag. Of course, that means that you must speak up and ask again for the names of the guests nearby you. The uneasiness in your midsection gets worse. You are anxious, you are afraid. Let us imagine the star of the party. There always is one. Let us say his name is Skip. Skip is the center of interest. He talks about his latest escapades when he took a tour group to Rome. He relates the story about the couple who got lost at the Colosseum because they were busily stealing limestones. They claimed the stones were genuine marble. It took Skip 20 minutes to make them leave the artifacts behind. Everyone was enthralled with Skip, but they did break off into smaller groups later on. There was one guy at the party who aroused your curiosity. He showed interest in you and introduced himself. "My name is Dave," he said. Then he spoke about his work as a computer technician. You tried to ask a few questions, but eventually called him Doug, not Dave. That is when you lapsed into an emotional fugue, so he wandered off to the snack table. Later, you were hoodwinked into a one-to-one conversation with a small-eyed fellow who looked safe. He worked in a medical lab, and you were subjected to a lengthy conversation about blood types. There was nothing you could contribute except a cursory knowledge about databases, and how it feels to be both anxious and bored simultaneously. You, like everyone else, has the inner need for the esteem of others, according to Maslow, the respected psychologist. The need for the esteem of others ranks just above your basic survival needs. There's just one catch. The one and only way you can receive the approbation you so desperately seek is to reach out. You sense you need a springboard and the courage to utilize it to your advantage. Everyone needs a starting point, not an escape route back home. The esteem of others seems elusive, or perhaps just hidden from your gaze. Life inside yourself. Are you tired of living inside yourself for so long? You have thoughts and feelings, emotions and ideas well up inside you, and there's no one to share them with. You try social media, but know deep inside you that you are talking to people without faces behind other screens like your own. They talk about themselves, not you. The annoying exception to that is the presence of the deriders and internet trolls who take perverse pleasure in criticizing and insulting others. You know you want to be part of society, a real society, not an electronic one, and not in the devious land of the deriders and trolls. Of course, there are sincere folks in the internet chat rooms, but that is not enough. It is not a real experience. You want to be recognized and appreciated on a face-to-face basis. You want to participate, but wish to avoid being judged or criticized. You want others to know who you are without the need to issue press releases from your self-styled hermitage. You know that social interaction is important in order to get along in life. Naturally, you would rather it be otherwise. You feel inferior sometimes because you feel anxious, inadequate, and incompetent in social situations. How will you learn to participate in society without practice? You want to meet your soulmate, but that person is not going to ring your doorbell spontaneously. You either need to look or be in a position to be found. That place is not within the long-cherished walls of your home. It may be, though, after the search is over. As a person, you sense that your perspective on life is unique and worthy of note. However, you do not know that for sure. You believe you are a nice person full of insight and wisdom, but how do you know that? You know that humans are members of society, and there is little you can do to become a self-made hermit in a 21st century world. The human being was not meant to be alone. Most mammals live in groups because survival is a cooperative effort. The polar bear is one of the exceptions to this. This white monarch of the Arctic spends his or her entire life wandering a frozen wasteland. You do not want a frozen lifestyle to be your fate. You do not want to be sentenced to a life of loneliness. Society calls upon you. Here's another social situation that visits everyone. Is this how you feel? The family matriarch calls you one day and invites you to a dinner occasion with relatives. Do you cringe because no one dares turn her down? During your lifetime, you are only allowed 3 chances to escape unscathed. 1, your car is in the shop. 2, you're going to be away. Or 3, you are deathly ill. There are usually pitfalls in those techniques, as experience has taught you. 1, Harold will pick you up if your car is in the shop. That means you have to hide your car, of course. 2, you're going on a trip? Where? Why? And remember not to answer your phone, just in case the family matriarch gets suspicious. 3, beware if you plead illness. A concerned family member will stop by with chicken soup. You'd better be in bed. When you arrive at Aunt Nellie's house, the usual crowd is there. There are rituals and requirements that accompany such visits. The first act is the meet and greet session. Suddenly you are confronted with a face in the group with which you are only